Hello friends, today we're taking a journey through time and bricks to explore the history of architecture in New York City. Our story begins in 1624 when Dutch settlers founded New York, then known as New Amsterdam. They built simple houses, but their influence can still be seen in areas like Wall Street. Fast forward to 1811 and we have Castle Clinton. Originally a fort to defend the city, it has served many purposes over the years, including being an immigration station and a public aquarium. Then there's Federal Hall, where George Washington became the first president of the United States. The original building was demolished in 1812, but the current one, built in the Greek Revival style, still stands tall. As the city grew, so did its buildings. From the Beaux-Arts style of the early 20th century to the Art Deco of the interwar period, to the International style, and finally to the brutalism of the post-war years. Each style tells a story about the city's growth and change. New York is famous for its skyscrapers. The Woolworth Building, once the tallest building in the world, the Chrysler Building with its Art Deco style, and the Empire State Building, a symbol of New York's resilience during the Great Depression. Think about the fancy buildings from the early 1900s, known as Beaux-Arts style. These buildings had lots of detailed decorations and big, impressive fronts. They were very different from the simpler buildings before them. They showed off how the city was getting richer and wanted to look grand. Next, during the time between the two world wars, the city started to love the clean shapes and patterns of the Art Deco style. The Chrysler Building is a perfect example of this style. Its stepped top and shiny decorations make it a lasting symbol of New York's skyline. After that came the International style. This style was all about being simple and useful. Buildings weren't just about looking good anymore. They were about being practical and efficient. After the war, a style called brutalism became popular. This style was all about bare, rough, concrete buildings. It was bold and rough on purpose, showing the city's strength even when times were tough. And of course, we can't forget the skyscrapers, the really tall buildings that make New York City famous, like the Woolworth Building, which was once the tallest building in the world, and the Empire State Building, which shows the city's strong spirit even during tough times, like the Great Depression. These buildings, many of them more than 100 years old, make the city's streets look charming. They quietly tell the story of New York's history. Each building is like a chapter in the city's story of skyscrapers. New York's residential districts are filled with elegant brownstone rowhouses, townhouses, and tenements. These buildings, often over a century old, add a touch of charm to the city's streets. Imagine this, lots and lots of fancy brownstone houses, all lined up next to each other. Their fronts show us a glimpse of the past. These buildings, with their special sandstone outside, became a popular style of building in the middle of the 1800s. They still make the city's streets look charming and old-fashioned. Next, think about the townhouses. These are tall, thin homes that fit into small spaces. They're a smart way to deal with the city not having a lot of space. Even though they're small, they're still stylish and practical. That's why many people in the city want to live in them. Tenements are also a big part of the city's homes. They were first built to give cheap housing to the city's growing number of immigrants in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Over time, these buildings have changed to meet the different needs and likes of the people living in them. And let's not forget the wooden water towers. You'll see these on top of many New York buildings. They were installed in the 19th century to prevent water pipes from bursting. These towers, often overlooked, are a unique part of New York's skyline. So, that's a quick tour of New York City's architectural history. From Dutch settlers to modern skyscrapers, every building tells a story. This is the city that never sleeps, and its architecture tells a story that never ends.